Natalia Bonner. Welcome to month 4. I am still having so much fun with this stitch along. I hope you are all too. Make sure you do share your progress on Facebook and Instagram. Use our hashtag Let's Stitch a Year of Stars. We do have a Facebook group where we'd love for you to share your progress if you aren't already. It's so much fun, and we do giveaways, all sorts of other things in that Facebook group, Let's Stitch a Year of Stars. So today we're going to be stitching the Mosaic star. I love how this block turned out, so cute. Now, if you're brand new to my stitch along, below we have links telling you, links to videos showing you step by step all the information you need to know about this stitch along. So make sure you do check those out below, but in the meantime, let's get stitching. I'll start out by using my mini 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler and stitching in the ditch all the way around the outside of my quilt block. Once I have completed my stitch in the ditch work, now I'm ready to start stitching on those blocks. Starting in an outside corner, I'll use the medium-sized curve on my mini 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler and stitch some point-to-point melons. Now, if you did stitch with me along in my year of quilt block designs, you probably will notice some of these blocks that I'm going to be sharing with you. Once I've stitched in the ditch around the outside of that block, from the outside corner, I'll stitch a straight line right up to that yellow quilt block corner. From there, I'll adjust my ruler and stitch to the corner of that pink block. Then from there, along the ditch to the outside corner and back to that yellow block. From that yellow block, now I'm going to travel in the ditch along the outside of this blue unit. I am trying to keep my quilting a little bit more simplistic on this block, so you could definitely add more quilting if you want more. Once I've stitched in the ditch around the top side of that blue unit, now I'm going to stitch some point-to-point lines. So from that point to the top of my unit, from that point to the opposite outside corner. From there, I'll stitch in the ditch along the bottom side or the top side of that light pink triangle. I'll actually continue by stitching in the ditch all the way around the outside of that triangle. Once I've stitched around that, now I'm going to add an echo to the inside that's a 1/2 inch in from the outside of that light pink unit. Once I've completed that, now I'm going to move to the next blue unit where I'll repeat the same process, stitching a straight line from the outside corner to the top center point, from the top center point to the opposite corner, stitch in the ditch along the outside of that light pink triangle, and then add that inside echo that's a 1/2 inch in from the outside of that light pink flying geese unit or triangle unit. From there, I'll move on and repeat that same process in the next blue unit. And one more of those blue units. Stitch that straight line up to the top, then to the opposite corner. Then I'll stitch in the ditch along the top side of that pink triangle block, and then add an echo that's a 1/2 inch in from that. From that point, now I'm going to use the largest curve on the mini 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler and stitch a point-to-point curve from the one corner across the block to the opposite corner, adjust my ruler and stitch back to where I started. From there, I'll travel in the ditch along the outside of my yellow block where I'll repeat that process one more time. So I've stitched the same block in that outside pink block that I'm going to stitch here in the center, just adjusting the size. This is, like I said, one of the block units from my stitch along. Let's stitch a block a day. Once I get to that opposite corner, now I'm going to again go back to that straight line quilting, where I'll stitch a straight line to the outside of the pink block, travel up the ditch, stitch a straight line back to the center, then back to the outside, back to that pink unit. From there, then I'll stitch that fun little curved point-to-point melon motif through the center of that block. Stitching from one corner to the opposite, and then when I get back to where I started, I'll stitch in the ditch along the outside of the block and repeat that one more time, creating that cute little design. From that point, I'm going to travel back to the outside of my block, where now I'll go into stitching in the ditch along the side of that blue unit. Working my way around the outside of it so that I can travel to the next corner. When I get to the next corner, I'll repeat that same process, stitching the straight lines with the melon design in the center of that pink unit. From there, I'll travel along the ditch up to the top center point, where I'm again going to go back into that stitch in the ditch work. From there, then I'll travel to that last corner where I'll complete the last corner just like I've done the other 3 corners. Now from that point, there are a couple of places where I do need to complete the stitch in the ditch work. So now I'll go back through and finish any stitch in the ditch work that I did not complete. There are a few places where I will need to stitch over my previous stitch line, but that's okay because I'm using such a fine thread that it will blend really nicely. I hope you all found a little bit of inspiration from today's block and today's video. If you do want even more inspiration, more block designs, make sure you do hop over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/Natalia Bonner. Hope you all have a great day.